Hello, my listeners and viewers. Today, I want to welcome you to episode 3 of, how to respond to breakups. We have already talked about the first episode where we said you have to brave the pain and deal with it. It's painful. Sometimes it's really hard. It's bitter. It's frustrating. It takes the steam of life out of you. But in spite of all that, your first response actually should be braving the pain, recognize the pain, brave it, and deal with it. Because if you fail to deal with it, then the pain, it's going to deal with you. And again, we talked about taking responsibility, because sometimes we are almost always blaming others for our mishaps, blaming others for what happened to us, blaming others for our breakups, blaming others for everything, because that's the easiest thing to do. But then when we decide to go to start blaming people, you are actually putting your power into their own hands. And you are actually in a less powering position, and that is not a good place to be. Even when it is your fault, take responsibility. Assess your role. What brought me here? What went wrong? To what extent did I contribute to my breakup? To what extent did I contribute to my my friends betraying me? It's important that you ask this question, and you have to do something about it. Your analysis should be very constructive. And even when people are responsible for the breakup, even when people are even though you have zero role in the betrayal or the breakup, it still makes a lot of sense that you take responsibility, because they did not become your friends without you letting them. Nothing really happens to us without our permission. And therefore, the question is, what are you going to do about it? How you respond to it, how you handle it, how you manage it makes the difference. But today, we are going to discuss episode 3, another important response. And one of the most powerful tools that is at your disposal is the tool of silence. Silence is a very powerful tool. Sometimes it's normal, when breakups happen, people may want to, react. They may want their voices to be heard, and sometimes, a lot of people allow their bitterness, their frustrations, their disappointment, set them back. They allow their pain to take the driver's seat in their lives. And if you do that, that's a mistake. That's a fatal mistake to do. People are going to hurt you anyway. Whether they are your sisters, whether your family members, whether they're your friends, So, the pain, it's natural in life. Your children, they're going to hurt you anyway. So, talking about what normally goes on in your life, a lot of people are of the habit of moving from friend to friend, from family members to family members, explaining what happened to them, explaining how, they suffered for their friends, how somebody actually ungratefully walk out of the, I mean, you have a lot of explanations to do if you are of that nature. The best thing to do is to employ the tool of silence. Silence is not the absence of words. Silence is a very powerful tool. And silence grants you emotional control. Silence is wisdom. Silence is a very strategic tool. It gives you the power to reflect on your past. Silence also gives you the power to sit down quietly and probably look at the present. And silence also gives you the opportunity to, look at the future, because it's so important. And, there's a very powerful story. There's a very powerful lesson we can learn from the eagle and the crow. The eagle is a very powerful bird. It's the strongest bird. It's the king of the bird kingdom. Of course, the crow is a very tiny bird. But the crow is the only animal that has the audacity, that has the cocaine confidence to attack the eagle. It's just unbelievable. It's unimaginable that a bird of a tiny stature can actually launch an attack on the king of the birds, on the king of the air. And in all its power, its glory, to attack and defeat the crow, to beat the crow. Surprisingly, the eagle does not respond to crow attacks at all. What it does, it surges right up into the air, and the crow will just, keep, attacking the bird. But then the eagle soars up, right up, until it reaches a zone where oxygen is so limited, and immediately the crow begins to fall off. That's a very powerful lesson, because sometimes we spend so much responding to other people. We spend so much attacking, engaged in attack mode. We attack people, and sometimes it destroys us. But if we can learn from the eagle refuses to engage in any altercations with the crow. Even though in its glory it can defeat the crow in 1 second. But no, it does not. It keeps soaring in silence. Using its power of flight until it reaches the zone where the oxygen supply is cut off. Eagles fly at certain heights. No bird flies. And sometimes all what we need to do is go up higher. That's what we need to do. But a lot of people actually always want to get even. A lot of people want to, revenge. I don't get it. Because for me, the best revenge is massive success. If really you want to prove people wrong, you do not really need to attack them. You do not need to start blaming them. Sometimes you just need to be silent. Because silence is a tool. Silence is so powerful. Sometimes saying nothing says the most. It's important that we understand, I get it. Sometimes we want to let the frustration out, but it takes maturity to be silent. Because you know what? Your silence, my silence, is much more telling and it's much more stronger than the words and action of our enemies, of our haters, or our betrayers. Sometimes just choose to be silent. Because, you know, silence, it's so strategic. Because if a man fails to understand your silence, he will definitely not understand your words. And, you know, silence speaks volume. Do not always be in the attack mode. No. Do not. Because, you know, when people actually walk out of our lives, or when people break up with us, it's not that we are actually losing them. They are losing us. I mean, life is about perspective. It depends on your perspective of the breakup. When you break up with me, when you walk out, when you betray me, I am not losing you. You are actually losing me. But you can actually also lose them. I mean, depending on, you know, your actions. You know, some people will want to stay in a place of pain for the rest of their lives. And some people will want to start by blaming others. And some people will definitely want to go after people who betrayed them. I mean, come on. You know, what's the hassle? If a person decides that he or she does not want to be part of your future, let them go. Let them go. It's as simple as that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the pain is there. I understand the pain. I have been there. I am a witness to your pain. I am a testament to your pain because I have been there. I mean, it's excruciating. It takes a toll on us. It's frustrating. It's depleting. I understand. I get it. But the truth is, you do not want to be in a place of pain. And sometimes you need to see the breakup, the betrayal, the walk out as a detour. I mean, to a greater, I mean, you know, let me tell you one thing. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Get that straight. You can actually transform rejection into rejuvenation. But sometimes we allow the rejection to get up. I mean, sometimes just because you decide to just walk out on me or break up with me or, you know, leave my life does not dictate or determine my value. Just because you fail to see me for who I am does not mean, does not mean really that I do not have value. But sometimes we abort our value on the altar of our breakup pains. And that is so sad. I mean, we come into this world with so much promise. We have so much promise. I mean, God's promise. We are all here to, you know, we all have an assignment we came with into this world. But a lot of us actually fail to perform our assignment because of, I mean, little difficulties that we may encounter in life. Breakups should not really, I mean, destroy us. It should build us. I mean, is a popular preacher. I mean, he's dead now, but he's one of my favorite preachers in the world. Dr. Miles Monroe. He said the richest place in the world is not the gold mines. It's not the the I mean the diamond mines. It's not actually I mean the mines. No. He said the richest place in the world is a graveyard. So because in the graveyard lie people, great men and women who came into this world with so much potential. But because of breakups, because of disappointment, because of frustration, they allowed their frustrations, they allowed their misery to abort their future. I mean, you have great poets that died poetless. You have great business owners, potential business owners that could not even begin their own business because of frustration, because of disappointment. I'm here to tell you today that breakups, they are painful. But we can actually use breakups. We can actually use the pain, the frustration, the bitterness as a stepping stone. Use it as a detour towards the discovery of a greater life. I mean, we all are susceptible to fall. But when you fall, make sure you land on your back. Because if you can get up, if you can look up, you can get up. Do not allow your breakup to get the better part of you. Do not transform your pain into frustration. Transform your pain into pleasure. Transform your pain into, transform your pain as a means to rejuvenate your life. And how you do it? The power of silence. Silence is strategic. Sometimes you just have to be silent